What is up, ladies and gents? It is the Weekly Square Gamers podcast where some dudes get around and talk some shit, some caca about video games. I'm Mike, and today we're with Pedro. And 'tis the evening before Easter, bro. You excited for Easter, bro? A day off for you and me?
Hell yeah, bro.
A big old fat beef roast, some family, some cervezas, some Mexican piss water in a glass bottle with a white label.
I'm excited for Coronas. I don't know what you're drinking, but I'm excited to have Coronas.
I'm drinking Modelo's, bitch.
Oh, well,
Ooh.
I guess if that's what you want to call Mexican piss water, you can go ahead and continue doing that.
Oh, but guys, it's not been too crazy of a week for video games, but we do have a couple of things we want to talk about. First off, we want to build a Scorpio hype, just so we get some excitement going because Scorpio looks really good. But before we hit that, we want to get into people want to say leaked Battlefront 2 trailer, but at the end of the day, nothing's fucking leaked anymore. It's kind of like, hey, do something with this, and someone sends it out on the internet, and then people go wild. Apparently, it was leaked. That's what they say. I say that one more time. But some videos have been taken down, but not all of them. I was able to find like 2 or 3 videos out of like 20 that I clicked on that showed the actual trailer. Battlefront 2, they don't show any gameplay, but they do show a couple cool things. Battlefront 2 will have a single player campaign that takes place on Endor, the Return of the Jedi. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. Unfortunately, Jay isn't here. Jay's a huge fan of Star Wars. It also picks up right after The Force Awakens. Now, I've seen that movie, but I can't remember much of it. And it's kind of sad that here I am talking about Battlefront 2 and I'm not a Star Wars guy. You're not a Star Wars guy either, right, Pedro?
I mean, not as much as Jay, but I do remember what happened in the movies and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
I will say this: Darth Maul is getting a lot of play in that leaked trailer, man. As he should, man, because he's a super dope character with probably the coolest lightsaber around because it's double-sided and shit.
He was my favorite. He was my favorite character in the older movies. Me and my 10-year-old daughter watched a couple of them after Rogue One came out. Yeah. And she enjoyed them. She kind of got lost because the older movies are a little more cinematic, almost more. It's more about storytelling than the actual action. Even though there's action in those older movies, but it's not quite as Rogue One. So now that she's a younger generation, so eventually we'll watch the rest of them. But before we keep on talking about the actual movies, guys, let's finish talking about the game. Okay, the campaign appears to be focused on a untold soldier story. I don't know too much about it. I don't expect much from it. I know the first game was pretty damn bad, so hopefully they've learned and they make improvements. Supposedly the game is supposed to like span over several movies because, as Pedro and I just talked about, Darth Maul is in it. They showed rather, I want to say maybe like a good 15 seconds worth of Darth Maul footage, or almost like they kept bouncing back to him a couple times. That's super dope. I would love to play as an actual Jedi. I haven't played an actual Jedi since, I want to say, oh fuck, wasn't it Star Wars the Knights of the Old Republic? I think it was on the Xbox 360, bro.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic hit I think it was the first Xbox, not the 360, but I may be wrong. Also, The Force Unleashed was pretty dope. I mean, it let you play like a Sith, I guess. So
yeah, I didn't play too much of that one. That's the one with the Darth Maul, or not Darth Maul, with Fuckface's apprentice, right?
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
I
can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. Was it Darth Vader's apprentice?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Make sure you guys, in the comments below, you freaking clear me up on that. Liven me up on my Star Wars lore. But the cool thing is, well, probably for guys like Joe and I, the game is rumored to be 4K optimized for Scorpio and possibly PS4 Pro. Now, that will be really cool because other than, I want to say, shit. Help me out, Pedro. Shadow of War.
Yeah.
Is also supposed to be optimized for 4K. Now, all the other previous games are gonna probably have like patches and stuff that allow them to run at 4K, but this is probably gonna be one of the first games actually completely optimized from EA for 4K. Now, now is to you, Pedro? Is this one of those games you kind of want to see in 4K, or is this just because it's 4K? If I have a 4K TV, I'm gonna buy it, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, is this a game you're gonna want to buy for the 4K optimization?
I mean, first let's start with Battlefront. With the Battlefront that came out a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It wasn't a horrible game. It wasn't terrible. It was just a game that was caught in that multiplayer only, craze, and people wanted to play. I wanted to have a single player experience because you're talking about Star Wars. But don't get it twisted. Battlefront was a great multiplayer game if you played it with friends or just wanted to play it competitively. Had some really, really dope modes. The space dogfighting mode was pretty cool. You could actually play as some of the characters in the game as well, like a 6-on-6 team deathmatch style battle, which was actually kind of dope. Because you would play as a regular character, like as just one of the regular, stormtroopers or just a regular person in the war. And then what you would do is there were perks, and the perks would actually turn you into a specific hero, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
I mean, the game had a lot going for it. It definitely brought you into the Star Wars land. It really was kind of like, being inside a Star Wars movie. Just the way the game looked visually, and more importantly, the sounds were there. You know what I mean? Like when the laser hit you, and when when you're wielding a lightsaber, it just kind of, everything was reminiscent of a Star Wars movie. So I'm not gonna give it as low praise as what you would. Or I mean, I even saw Jay kind of throw out the in the group, the first, he commented on the post that he put up saying, the first game was multiplayer garbage, we're finally getting a single player game. It wasn't garbage, it was just multiplayer only, and it wasn't what the complete game fans wanted. But it was definitely far from being a garbage game, for the record. Also, it's probably still one of the best looking games out, that you can buy, especially when you play it on the PC at full 4K resolution, which we know from what Digital Foundry says, that you'll be able to achieve with by purchasing it on Project Scorpio, which I hope they give an actual name and not like call it Project Scorpio, because that sounds stupid as hell.
Well, that's actually pretty funny. Which we're gonna move right into the next one, Pedro, because I know you're probably hyped for this, because I wouldn't say you're an Xbox fanboy, but you and I both enjoy the Xbox. You a little more than I do. You love your Xbox, and I think from the last 15 years that I've known you, I must say you've bought more Xboxes than anyone I have ever seen. So, okay, Scorpio. Mr. Phil Spencer tweeted out, it said a little thing that caught my eye. I'm going to bring it up before we actually break it down. And this is what's kind of pulling me into this hype train, guys. Xbox has always been a good console, but the games have been lacking. And Phil Spencer goes on and says today, at Team Xbox, we put gamers at the center of everything we do, and we are driven to build the best platform on which to create and play games. We know that you can't have one without the other, and which is why we're here, invested so much in new development tools, publishing opportunities, hardware, services, and developers and gamers alike. Okay, Now, what strikes me hits me on the head with this, Pedro, is do you remember when E3 the first like big presentation when Phil Spencer finally came out, like he became head of Xbox and he came out and I was like, I don't know about this guy, and you're like, bro, he's good, he's a good dude, he knows what he's doing. This is reassurance to guys like me who are on the fence about Xbox. Has some hope. There's like a glimmer of hope there. Not only that, did they post some other stuff, some interesting stuff. Now, I'm gonna let you break this down, Pedro. FreeSync and next gen HDMI. Okay, because all I know from reading this is the Scorpio is going to be able to lock down frame rates extremely good or extremely well. Now, the biggest problem I have with it is right now on my current console, I'm locked at 30, and the game I'm playing, For Honor, needs to be at 60. Like, it needs to be at 60. And what I'm reading here, what I'm getting from this new technology, Project Scorpio, is using FreeSync and the next gen HDMI is going to be able to achieve that. You want to break this down for me?
Basically, what FreeSync will do is it'll reduce in-game jitter, allow the system to take advantage of its full potential and allow games to run at a much smoother frame rate. So the big thing that we spoke about spec wise last week was it's going to look better graphically, but it's not only going to look better, it's going to perform better as well, which means the games are going to run much smoother. And FreeSync is going to allow that to happen. It's it eliminates things like tearing and reduces stutter significantly, and it does that just by allowing the graphics processing unit to trigger the display refresh, as opposed to going by the TV refresh cycle. What it does is FreeSync lets the graphics card do the refresh cycle, which is really good.
Well, because another thing I learned today that a lot of console gamers don't know this, but the input lag and actual visual lag from the console to your TV is actually rather terrible. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right.
So this will help alleviate this problem, because as we move forward, we're seeing a lot more competitive gaming. And with the esports getting as big as it is, we need consoles to be around, to get into this sport. Because if you actually watch a lot of esports, all the big top, tier tournaments, top like $1 million prizes are all PC game or PC rigs or PC games. So this is interesting to say that this will help console get bigger and get better games. And at the end of the day, that's more fun for me, bro. I mean, it might end up with an empty pocketbook, but or satchel, hand satchel. But but I appreciate you that breakdown, Pedro. Another thing I want to bring up, Digital Foundry also was talking about, or I should say, Gamel told Digital Foundry after everything was said and done, the new dev kit was announced today, or what was it? 3 days ago, right?
It was just revealed.
About it?
They were showing the dev kit. It was revealed, yeah, but it's not using the final casing. Apparently, it just looks like an Xbox One S. So that's just just an FYI for anyone who saw it and was like, "Oh, it's gonna look like an Xbox One S." Not necessarily. That's just something that they give the devs. So the hardware that counts there.
Yeah, because I was also reading the article, and they were talking about basically the target for Scorpio is to hit native 4K. Now, I have a question for you. If Scorpio is sold at a decent price, which we'll get onto that next, Pedro, because I know you want to talk about the price point our rumors are going around about. If 4K is the target resolution, do you think TVs and Xboxes will be sold together?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course you're gonna have your Best Buys, your not HH Greg anymore, But your Best Buys, Walmarts, Targets sell, 4K packages with televisions. They probably won't be Sony televisions, but Best Buy likes to package Samsung televisions with Xbox Ones, quite frequently. Just as they like to package a PS4 Pro with a Sony 4K TV. So for sure, you're definitely going to see those types of packages come holiday season. Would I buy one? I mean, I don't know if I'd buy a 4K TV yet, simply because HDMI 2.1 still hasn't been hashed out amongst the powers that be. Plus, they still have to figure out what the HDR, the high dynamic range, like the actual. Man, I'm a loss for words right now. They're just looking for what, how they're gonna regulate it, and what the base level is gonna be for HDR, and they just haven't figured it out yet, whether or not they're gonna use Dolby's, or the one that all of the TV manufacturers are backing, or a third party one. So that should be done by this year, and the next year's TVs in 2018 should have that enabled. So I might pull the trigger and get one next year. But either way, the Scorpio's being made to handle whatever those big consortiums come up with. So
yeah, I mean, because I'm reading all this stuff about Scorpio, getting as much information as I can. The price point. Let's hit the price point really quick. Now, there's rumors talking about upwards up to $700. I don't see it, for the simple reason that I don't think Phil Spencer will shoot himself in the foot. I know he wants to give a powerful console, but I don't think he's going to make it to the point where it's inaccessible to the average gamer. If you understand what I'm saying, you know what I mean. If you're not like, say for instance, you, guy who likes to live on the the cutting edge of technology, you might not have a problem saving up until that shit comes out and buying it on release. A guy like me that typically doesn't have that kind of cash laying around, or doesn't really care too much, the $700 price tag is a big punch in the stomach. What are you thinking? What is your projection for price point for Scorpio? Because I don't think it's 700, and I don't think you think it's 700 either. You want to enlighten me?
$700. They're pricing themselves way out of the market, man. That's PC territory at that point. At that point, you can get a PC that's somewhat similar to what you can get from an Xbox One Scorpio. So I would think $500 is that sweet spot. You can't get a PC that's going to perform as good as that Xbox One will perform. It's also the same price as the original Xbox One with the Kinect was, which still sold very, very well. It just didn't beat PlayStation. And again, like what you're saying, Phil Spencer doesn't want to create a box that's inaccessible to consumers. Because why would you create a box that developers want to make games for, but then the consumers won't buy? That'd be the dumbest business decision ever. You're gonna have a console with all these games on it, but it's priced way out of consumer price point, and it's just like it just, to me, that doesn't make sense. So I think they're gonna win this with two things, right? They're gonna win this by showing dope games, with dope capabilities on the Xbox One Scorpio, and they're gonna win it with price. $500 is a very reasonable price for something that's gonna play games in native 4K and give you 60 hertz consistently, 60 frames per second consistently throughout your gameplay experience. So I'm not complaining about that, man. I spent $500 when the Xbox One first came out, and it was an underpowered machine. I'll be more than happy to spend another $5 for a machine that's much more powerful than anything that's out on the market at this point in time.
So. I mean, I totally get it, and it brings me up while you're breaking that down, and your opinion down for me. Now, we don't know the actual true technology within the Scorpio, or I should say, the actual parts they're using. We just know the actual specifications of it, correct? Or do we know? Do we have parts names and everything?
No, we don't have parts names.
Okay,
We
so
just have the specs.
so what brings me up to a point, Pedro, and I want to run this by you. Okay, now Digital Foundry, when they released their actual specifications video and article about it, and he talked about how very clearly, what's the word I'm looking for? He was very impressed on how Microsoft was able to come up with this power. Do you think Phil Spencer and the guys at Xbox did all this extra work to work out more power out of maybe lower end parts to get the power out of the console to lower the price? Or do you just think that this is literally probably like top, mid to top tier parts in everything else in the console? You understand what I'm saying? You understand? Do you think that they use their technique of wiring and creating the system to the price at a lower end? You understand what I'm saying?
No, absolutely not. So this was covered by Phil Spencer earlier in the week. They actually said that he praised Sony for releasing a great console for 2016, but Microsoft had a twofold plan. They had in mind either releasing the Scorpio in 2016 or waiting till 2017. And somewhere towards the beginning of the year, they decided to pivot and cut off the 2016 plan and wait till 2017. So the current pricing of the chipsets and the materials that they're using would go down a little bit. So they're not really using discounted old devices or old products. They're just they just waited for the materials that they were using to kind of mature a little bit and go from being brand new and being sold at a premium to being sold at a more reasonable price.
Okay, so I see what you're looking at it from an actual business standpoint. Yeah, that's pretty dope, because the way I was looking at it is maybe the way they manufacture, or the way they're manufacturing these things are allowing them to keep the price down. Because if you actually look at the console, for $500, you're getting a hell of a machine. I was looking up on PC prices, trying to get a new PC so I can render videos and do all our stuff rather quickly. And I'm looking to spend a good $800 for a built PC or building the PC myself. But I can go to Best Buy and hopefully find an open box at a decent price. But that's one of those things where when I heard the $700 price tag, I'm like, wait a minute. If I can get I could build my own PC for $800 to $900. If I'm patient, this doesn't sound right. So I'm glad I brought that up to you, because you have a pretty good opinion on this text stuff. So I'm glad I brought it up. Is there anything you want to hit on the Scorpio, Pedro, that I haven't asked you, Mister?
I mean, we covered the price, we covered the FreeSync technology, and that's really all that's come out. We do know that they are gonna announce the name and kind of unveil the hardware at E3. Which I'm assuming it'll probably start off with, this is what the Xbox Scorpio is. It'll be this. Actually, I think they'll end with the price. They'll say, this is what the Xbox Scorpio is. And now to let you know what you can look forward to later this fall. And then they're going to show all the games. They'll say every game from here on out is going to be Xbox Scorpio, but it'll also be playable on your Xbox One S or Xbox One. And then there's just going to be games. And at the end, they say, hey, this fall, let's say they drop it in October. They say this October, you'll be able to get this for $499.99. I think that's the way that's going to go for Microsoft at E3. They're a lot, again, this is such a good marketing strategy for Microsoft. They are getting ahead of the they're just getting ahead of the hype machine. They're getting ahead of the public downplaying their console. They are controlling their own message, but they're doing it in such a savvy way that they are not the ones that are releasing the information. They're letting a third party come out, play with their stuff, discover these new things, get excited about it, and put out content themselves to accurately explain what the Scorpio is, what it can do, and how it's gonna work once we get our hands on it. And that to me is probably one of the most savvy ways to roll out a console hype. Is not to like they're not even doing it themselves, man. They're having reputable. What happened?
They have the most respected,
Yeah, they've got the most respected brand in terms of getting in the nitty gritty of technology, doing it for them. They're doing it in an excited manner. And I really, really like it, man. It's super unique. This is something that you don't see from the other brands. Sony didn't do this with the PlayStation Pro. Nintendo didn't do this with the Nintendo Switch. So the fact that Microsoft is using a different method to build up hype for their console and it's actually working is great.
which brings me, what do you think about Nintendo Switch actually beating the other two consoles in sales this month?
If you weren't expecting that to happen,
well, no, that's not my question. I said, what do you think about it?
I expected it to happen. I'd be more surprised if it didn't. I would start pouring a 40 out right now for it because it should outsell Xbox One S and PlayStation 4 at least until the Scorpio comes out. And even then, probably after that because the price is lower.
Okay, you bring up a good point. And when are you getting one?
As soon as it comes in stock.
You made that. You pulled that trigger.
Yeah, for sure. I played with it. My brother got one. Hardware wise, it's much nicer than I thought it was gonna feel. It feels like a real piece of hardware. Doesn't feel like I'm playing with a Fisher Price toy or something like that. So.
Oh shit!
That's what won me over, man. Was the hardware, man. If the hardware felt like garbage, real plasticky, like it would break or like it was just super cheap, I wouldn't buy it. But the hardware looks like it's well made. Zelda looks like it's a good enough game. Games are coming fairly quickly for the console. They are filling it up with indie titles. And Mario Kart 8 is coming soon. So, I can wait.
Well, yeah. Did you get have you got a chance to get your hands on Zelda?
Yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit of Zelda, and then I was like, all right, let me not, spoil it for myself. I'll chill. But it looks dope. I could tell you this: the TV dock is not being used, and he uses it as a mobile gaming platform. Playing it, at the dinner table or in bed or during his lunchtime or whatever. He doesn't use it at the TV. So at least that's what he tells me. So.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited. I would love to play it. Instead of being on my phone in bed, I'd love to just play some Switch.
Well, is there anything else you want to touch on before we go, bro?
No, that's about it for this week, man.
All right, guys. Make sure you guys go to our Facebook page, /The Square Gamers. Also go to the group page, Facebook /group for /The Square Gamers. Check out our YouTube channel. We got pretty cool stuff going up on over there. Jay's been streaming a lot of 7 Days to Die, which is a really niche, kind of weird game. But if you're into zombies, make sure you go check that out. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.